Let's talk some Georgia recruiting because we have an epic showdown in Athens this weekend, and it's also in prime time, which means plenty of time to get recruits in that stadium, and it is going to be a huge weekend for recruiting. We got a special UGA expert in studio with us to break down this huge weekend. But before we get started, Georgia fans, do me a favor. We got 3 weeks of signing day. Hit subscribe to the Rivals Recruits channel. You're going to want to be locked in. All right. We got Rusty Menzel from Dogs HQ. Rusty, we've been talking about this weekend since the summer. Who are the headliners that Georgia fans should expect in this weekend?
Well, it starts with a big man. And you start talking about 6'8", 315-pound, 2027 offensive tackle Joshua Salmon Pelly out of Douglas County High School. This is a kid that recently announced his top 10. I really like where Georgia is right now. But you look at the 27 class, obviously DJ Jacobs out of Blessed Trinity High School. It's a 5-star. Many think maybe the top defensive end or the second-rated defensive end in the country for his class. He's been at Georgia a lot. Obviously know the connection with his dad playing at Georgia. A lot of schools, Clemson, Tennessee, Alabama, everybody's in on him. But he'll be back in Athens this weekend. A pair of quarterbacks as well, Josh, when you look at Colton Nussmeier, the 2027 quarterback out of Texas. Obviously, older brother Garrett, dad coaches football as well. This is a name that a lot of people are familiar with. But I think the one you're going to watch is in the 2028 class with an upcoming decision. Jaden Wade out of IMG Academy is a 2028 quarterback. He's going to make his decision early next week. It's crazy. It's a 2028 prospect. And it is early, but a player like that, his caliber, you take that commitment and see if you can hold on if Georgia can land him.
Yeah, and it's at the quarterback position, so that kind of, they do come off the board kind of early. So listening to you talk about headliners, there's a lot of 2027 talk.
Yep.
And that's not just at Georgia. That's really across the country. So since we're only 3 weeks signing today, I want to still talk 2026.
Gotcha.
What's left for Georgia? I mean, I know they got a great class lined up, and if it finished this way, Georgia fans should be plenty happy. But if they could, where would they add a flip or two?
Well, I think you look at offensive linemen. They're looking at a young man, Tyreek Jemison, out of Paulding County High School. This kid, he decommitted from Kentucky recently as an in-state offensive lineman. Georgia offered him a couple of weeks ago. Got a chance to see him up close, and Georgia offensive line coach Stacy Searles went by during one of the bye weeks and saw him. Really, Josh, it's just holding on to your class. I mean, at this point, just about all the commits are expected in town this weekend. You're going to have Jared Curtis, still some rumblings there with him, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But, it's really holding on to your class and what you can add because, when you got a class like this, you've had these guys this long, you don't want to lose pieces at the end.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that being said, it seems like NIL, we're 3 weeks away and anything could happen. But, talking to the insiders, just talking to people behind the scenes, it sounds like NIL might have things a little, together more on these commit lists, not as many flips down the stretch. We'll see what actually happens. So if there was anybody on this Georgia commit list that UGA fans need to worry about, who would you point to?
Well, I don't know if you worry, but obviously there's a lot of tension on Jared Curtis. When a couple of weeks ago with all the Vanderbilt talk, it's a kid, right out of Nashville with the momentum that Vanderbilt has. This is what I've said. His family said he's staying with Georgia. He has said he's staying with Georgia. His agent has said they felt like Georgia's the place for him. But this is one of those players. I mean, he's the number one quarterback in the country for most people. Most people that do those types of rankings, and you don't get those easy sometimes. So I don't know if you necessarily worry, but you do pay attention all the way to the end. He's going to be in Athens this weekend, and that's good quality time again for Georgia to spend time with him. I think he came down for the Alabama weekend. He's trying to finish up his senior season there at Nashville Christian. But, I don't necessarily say, will there be some changes in the commit list? I would bet there will be. You know what I mean? I don't know who else is going to be there. Also, Josh, you start thinking about the late coaching changes. Yeah. That's going to impact. Who's going to be free? Who's going to be like, okay, I was committed to that school, but that coach is no longer there. And does Georgia try to make some movement there along with other schools? So the classes are done. But when you start talking about that last weekend in November, man, with all these coaches getting named, it could get things real interesting real quick.
Yeah, because the recruits don't have a ton of time to see what's going to happen.
It's the Wednesday after that, which is crazy.
The season ends on Saturday, and 4 days later, That Wednesday is signing day. So if you're if you're a commit of the Florida Gators, the LSU Tigers, somebody that doesn't have a head coach right now, what are the odds they're even going to have a head coach at that time? And if they don't, do you just stick to that school because that's where you're committed to, or do you go look for another spot? So it's all unprecedented. We haven't seen a December 3rd signing day yet, and we're going to see what happens. There could be some fallout. There could be not. All right. Let's talk about why you are here in Nashville. It's not just to see me. You are in town to see quarterback Jared Curtis this Friday night. He's been lighting it up this senior season. How's he been playing? Well, he's been playing great, but what do you think of what to expect from him? Because he's going to be on campus. He's an early enrollee, right? So he's going to be on campus in like 2.5 months.
Probably at some point,
sooner than that.
Yeah, at some point in December. So next month he'll be in Athens practicing, hopefully for some playoff games with Georgia. But listen, you look at the level of competition, and I think you don't dance around that. Nashville Christian's in a smaller private school classification here in Tennessee, but you look at the two best teams they played, specifically that Ensworth game, and you see the plays he made against a team. They were outmanned. There's no question. But he was the talent equalizer. And I think you've seen some of these crazy throws he's made and some of the athleticism. But to me, you take the two best teams they were going to play all year, regardless of playoffs or whatever, and Jared Curtis was the difference. And that's what you want to see out of a player like that. You can only measure him by what you've seen on tape. And the two best teams he's played up here might be the two best teams he's played in his entire career there. He played two of his best games, Josh. And everybody I talked to, even our Charles Powers at the Ensworth game, and he said, Rusty, that was crazy. It's interesting. The comparison's always been Matt Stafford. But as this year's went on, you start to see more of the Josh Allen comparisons. I mean, this is a 225-pound kid, broad shoulder, can make the throws, but he can move. A lot of people are starting to understand how he can hurt you with his legs, and that's so dynamic in today's game. I think Georgia fans are going to be really excited when he gets to town.
All right, last question. How are we feeling about the game? The actual game against Texas. You think Georgia's got a shot here, Rusty?
Well, the Kirby speak of the week was, I heard him quote and say, this Georgia team hasn't beaten Texas ever. Last year's team beat them twice, but this team hasn't. That's true. But listen, I kind of like the matchup for Georgia. I think Texas is really good. I think they're very dangerous. I think Arch Manning is getting better. This is what I've said about Arch Manning the entire time. He was going to see a lot of different things he's never seen. He's gotten better as the year went on, and that's what I thought. That's what I said in the preseason. I think Sark's a great offensive coach, but I think Saturday night between the hedges in Athens will be something he hasn't seen yet either. It's going to be next level in there. We'll see how he handles that, because I can promise you, with that much time to get lathered up, that much time to get ready to roll, Sanford Stadium is going to be ready. That place will be rocking Saturday night. We'll see how he handles it. I have predicted Georgia. I'm staying with that. I do think it's going to be a 4-quarter, very physical football game, and it might come down. Georgia fans are going to have their nerves shot again, but it might come down to something very late, a turnover, a stop, who can make that last play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, on paper, it looked like heading into the season, Texas had one of maybe the best roster in college football. Didn't start the season like that. They've been playing better, but you know what? So has Georgia. Georgia's been playing a lot better as the season wore on, too. I like where the Bulldogs sit in this one, but let's hear it from you guys. Get in the comments section. How you guys feeling about the Dogs' chances on Saturday? Give us your score predictions. Comment section below.